Hi Stampers, this is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. Welcome to today's live. Today we are doing a winged gatefold card. That's something that I have seen kind of all over Pinterest lately, so I can't really say who came up with it. But it opens like a gatefold card, but it has these extra little like wings that go with it. And so I thought I would show you today how I do this. Yesterday, my team and I got together for our virtual meeting, and we made this card together as a team, which is one of the benefits for joining Creative Royalty is that you get closer access to me and more guided help. They were given all the measurements in advance and were able to create it along with me and ask questions and create their own card. And I think they were all fairly happy with it. So I was excited to show it to you today. So let's go ahead and get started. This is our card, and we're using a couple different stamp sets because what I mostly wanted to feature was the Designer Series paper. The Designer Series paper is a great masculine choice, and one of the things I kind of liked about it is normally we have 6 different double-sided papers in each Designer Series pack, and for this one we actually have 3, and then they've just doubled the number of them that you get. So you get a more of the same sheet of paper, which is great for those of us demos who are, creating multiple cards of the same, or if you're trying to bulk create something, then this might be a great option. It's also great for scrapbooking, of course, because you can either order it as a pack of Designer Series paper, just like we normally do, or you can order it where it comes with a set of stickers that go with it. So a great option there. I want to remind everybody that we are still in our suite sale. If you don't know what that is, you haven't been paying attention, but what it is that all of our suites are currently on sale, and that if you buy one item out of a suite or the entire suite, then you get a second piece or a second suite for half off. So it's a great way to save a lot of money because it's very, very rare that Stampin' Up's going to give you half off on something that's still current. So go take a look at what's offered in a suite, and maybe you want 2 suites and get one of them half off, or maybe a suite in a bundle, or 2 bundles, or even just 2 packs of Designer Series paper. But go take a look at what you can get for half off. You might be surprised. Okay, for today's card, we are starting out with a piece that is 5.5 by 9.25. I am using Early Espresso because that's one of the colors in our Designer Series paper. I have it scored at 5/8, 2 5/8, 6 5/8, and then 8 5/8. Okay, so that's going to fold together like this. It's going to give us our gatefold where we meet in the middle there, and then it's going to give us a 4-inch opening here. So that's usually a little narrower than we go, because normally when we fold it together, we will have 4 1/4, and then these meet, like normal in the middle. But we wanted those little wings, so that's why the middle is a little bit smaller. Still going to work great. You're going to love it. This piece here is our actual wing, and so this is 3 3/4 by like 10 and I don't know, 1/16. It's just kind of like I went to the 10-inch and I went a little bit over, because what we're going to do is we're going to score this at 2 and 4, and then we're going to flip it around and we're going to score at 2 and 4 again, and that's on purpose. There's a reason why I just didn't go 2, 4, 6, and 8. Is because I want that extra little 1/16 of an inch to be in the middle. I want the middle piece to be the widest one. It's not wide by much more, but it's enough that when I fold over this part, it's going to not interfere with the score line. If these were all even 2 inches, it would butt right into there, and I don't want it to interfere with that score line. I want to be able to have them fold over each other and still be fairly flat. So that 1/16 of an inch has to be in the middle. So score 2 and 4, flip it, 2, and 4. Very important on that part. We are going to have some designer series paper. As I said, this is the Weekend Adventure. And we are going to have our middle piece, which is going to be 5 1/4. That's our normal height. But this time, because our middle is 4 instead of 4 1/4, this is going to be 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. Then I have 4 of them that are the same, and these are all 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. So there's going to be 2 on the inside and then 2 on the outside. So our little doors here, there's going to be 1 there and then 1 here for both sides. Then we're going to have this piece here, and so this being 3 3/4, all of our little pieces are going to be 3 1/2 inches tall, and then they're 1 3/4 inches wide. So I have 2 of them for the outside, I have 2 of them for the inside, and then 1 for the middle. Okay, so this one can be your basic white, very vanilla, you know, whatever your neutral is going to be for your stamping or for your inside sentiment. And then I have a few additional pieces. I am using the Textured Notes dies. Okay, this is one of those that I didn't actually buy the stamp set. I went ahead and I just bought the rectangles because I think they're awesome. And while the stamp set was nice, I just knew I was going to get a whole lot of use out of the rectangles. And I love that they are, you know, they kind of match. And then they kind of don't. There's a little bit of variety, and there's a few that are the same. So you know me in the way that I love our basic shapes, and this is one of those that's going to be in my collection even after it retires, because I think those are great. And then I was using the third one down, so counting from the largest, we're going to use number 3 and number 4. And so I just went ahead and I kind of laid it on my grid paper, and I went, okay, I need it to be approximately 3 inches by 4 1/2 for our early espresso, and it's approximately 2 1/2 by 4 for this one. But I basically kind of just reached into my scraps pieces and grabbed a few that fit. And then these are small enough that they're going to fit through our mini cut and emboss machine because it has that smaller 3-inch opening. These should fit through there just fine. So I love this one because it is nice and portable, and I can take it with me when I go to a crop, or I can use it on camera, or just have it on my desk and have it not take up too much room. Okay, I have my piece like barely fits my cardstock, so if I'm worried about it shifting at all, I would take a little Post-it note and then have that secure the die in place. I'm using plate number 1, plate number 2, and then another number 2. And then we're just going to go ahead and crank that through. So there is one of our shapes. And now this time I'm going to flip my dies because I want to have them wear evenly. And so since I had them one direction last time, I'm going to flip it over and use the opposite side this time. That makes sure that they get even wear and makes sure that they get less warping. I'm not going to say they won't warp at all, but they will warp less frequently if each time you use them, you flip them side for side. We're going to do just a little bit of stamping, and so we're going to go ahead and do that, and then all we have to do is assemble our card. So I wanted a little bit of leafy greenery, and so I grabbed my Spotlight on Nature stamp set, and then I am using the leaves out of that because it was a nice basic you know, woodsy kind of looking feel to it. And then I'm going to be using Happy Birthday and May All Your Wishes Come True out of the Unbounded Love. I love this stamp set because it gives you a little bit of everything. It's one of those stamp sets that can be used for all sorts of occasions. It's got sympathy, birthday, celebrations, best of luck. You know, it just covers feel better soon. It just covers lots and lots of things. And so that always is a good investment to me because it doesn't just do one thing, it does multiples. I am going to be stamping in Mossy Meadow, which you can't really tell it a whole lot, but Mossy Meadow is this green in the back here. So I am coordinating with the cardstock by using that for the leaves. And then we're going to be using Early Espresso for our sentiment. So let's go ahead and bring this in. I want to let you know book number 3 is coming along nicely, and this will be one of the cards that will be in book 3. So those of you who are anxiously awaiting, this will be one of the ones in there. I have two fun fold tutorial books that are currently available, and then we're adding to it. So I have one more fun fold book coming, and then hopefully this year I'll get that 3D book out. I have all of my projects picked, most of the diagrams done, all of my YouTube links. So it's just a matter of my typing up all the directions, which is going to take me a little longer than it does for the fun folds because there's more to 3D projects. But I promise you I didn't forget. It's still coming, just taking me a while. And I didn't want to give up everything else that I'm doing, so it just kind of got added to my schedule. Okay. Okay, that's all of our stamping. Pretty simple, right? Like I said, I was keeping this mostly about the designer series paper and the fold. So you can do this with any stamp set that you have, any designer series paper. I mean, be creative with it. I know a lot of people prefer to copy exactly what I do, but don't let that stifle your creativity either. I think that's part of why in my books, it doesn't really give you a stamp set to work with. It just says, you know, cut your card base to this size and cut your coordinating cardstock to this size. Then pick a designer series paper, pick a sentiment, make a focal point. So you get the most out of my books by being able to mix and match and coordinate it with all of your own stuff. Okay, so here is our focal point. Here is our inside. We're also going to need a belly band. So I have this 1-inch strip, and I'm going to score this. I'm going to come in, oh, I don't know, 2 inches, you know, just a little bit. And then I'm going to come over. I know my card is 4 inches. So rather than keep it right on 4 inches, I'm going to go over just a little bit more. So I don't know if you can see that, but I'm giving a little bit of extra room because it's going to be wrapping around. I want it to have some extra in the middle. And I'll show you how that works when we get to that point. But I had forgotten to do that when I was cutting all of our pieces here. Okay, let's just lay down our layers. That's going to be real quick and easy here. What have you guys been working on lately as far as cards? Have you been in your craft room? Are you creating? Let me know what you're working on. You know, we had the first day of summer on Saturday, and I've heard some people saying it's really, really hot, but I had to laugh because Sun Valley, which is a little bit north of here, got snow, like inches of snow. It was like, it was nuts. I'm not supposed to get snow on June 22nd. That's just weird. We had a high of, I think, 57 here in Twin Falls. So we didn't quite get the snow, but about an hour north of here they did. Okay, so here is our wing with all of our layers on it. We're going to move over to the base. Right now we're almost to July. So a lot of people will do Christmas in July, like that's when they start making their Christmas cards. Stampin' Up! Is coming out with some new online releases. There will be a couple Christmas things in there. And then we will have our full catalog release in September for our holiday catalog, where there will be more Christmas stuff. And I always encourage people, I know it sounds early, but start making your Christmas cards early. Don't wait until the last minute. That makes it kind of stressful when you have to sit down and make them all in, a short period of time. If you can spread it out, it gives you a little more time to relax and have fun and enjoy the creativity involved with the card making. I know I have to start early because I do Etsy. You can buy some of my finished cards on Etsy, and then I do craft fairs locally. And then, of course, I mail my own to my family and then to my customers. So I need quite a few by the time Christmas rolls around. If I waited till last minute, it would not be a good thing. So I'm just going to lay these one on top of the other. I'm not actually putting anything on Stampin' Dimensionals because all of the layers on this card and the way they fold up in the middle, it's already pretty thick. And so I don't want to have it too much thicker than it already is and have it cost a lot of extra postage. Okay, you may be wondering how this is going to go on. Okay, that's going to be our next step. We're going to start out by just putting adhesive on the back. I'm going to put a little more than normal because this might get some movement. Might even be a good place for tear and tape or Seal Plus. But I'm going to center it overall in this middle layer. So I'm kind of looking top to bottom, side to side. I want it about in the middle. Okay. I'm at a bit of an angle, so hopefully I got that in the middle. Now what I want to do is I want to fold everything to one side. We're going to take our middle and we're going to flip it all over that way. Then I'm going to close this. And I'm going to come back with this one. Okay. So did you know how I did that? This is all in the middle, all stacked together in the center. Then I fold everything to one side and close door number 1. Then I'm going to fold this back onto it, and I'm making a pencil line above and below. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Flip everything that way, close the left door, fold this over it, and then once again do my pencil mark above and below. Now we're going to cut that off. And I didn't measure or anything because it does not need to be exact. We're kind of getting a guesstimate. Okay, so we're going to come in a little bit below that. I mean, we're going to cut off pretty generous below that little mark. And then I'm going to take out my score line. Okay, so we're going to do that on all 4 corners. I've heard of quite a few people saying they're making lots of sympathy cards lately. I'm sorry to hear that. Lots of you in the comments are saying that you have sympathy cards going on right now. And some of you are saying that you're trying to use up items that you have. That's a good thing. Been doing quite a bit of that myself. Okay, so now that we have our little flap on the door done, it's cut down to size, so it's going to fit behind this. I mean, it's going to come almost to the edge, but not quite. You know, I didn't want it to be seen from the other side. So that's why I was able to cut past my score line or my pencil mark. Then I'm going to put some adhesive on these little flaps. So with it all closed, I'm going to then take this piece of our wing and I'm going to fold it back and do that. So you can see how right in here is where it hits. So that would be really hard to like measure and mark as to where that hits, because you never know. It depends on whether you cut exactly. I mean, there's so many different things. But by my doing it this way, because I fold everything in, make sure it's nice and flat, add my adhesive, and then I'm going to close this or open this. That's going to put my perfect placement on my little wings, and it's also going to make sure it will fold all together and be flat so I can stick it in the mail. So how about that? Was that as hard as you thought it'd be? Easier than you thought? Something you're going to give a try, I hope? Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is the belly band. As I said, I went ahead and I scored this at 2 inches because I just wanted to have it kind of like come into the middle, roughly. Then I gave it an extra 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch, just something so that when it wraps around, there's some room. I'm going to be able to slide this up and down comfortably, and it's not going to fit too tight. Then I'm going to take a look at, you know, about how far I want this to come over. And then I'm just going to snip some off. And I'm not measuring, I'm just snipping it off so that it fits. And then I'm going to glue these two pieces together. Okay, and by putting this together in the front, it's going to cover up the little seam with our focal point. It is totally okay to have it in the back. I've done that before. Some people complain that's, you know, don't do that, it's wrong. I don't think there's any wrong way to do anything. I think this is all us being creative and doing what we like to do and what we're comfortable with. So you will never hear me say you did something wrong if it still works, right? So there is our belly band. As you can see, it slides up and down, very comfortable. And then I'm going to put some adhesive across the middle. Again, a little more than normal because it's going to get some action. And then I'm going to just center this in the front of my card. And the beauty of this is my focal point is just a little bit larger than those layers on the inside. So it hides this really well. And that's our card. So less than a half an hour, like 25 minutes. I did a little chatting. We talked about the sale and we have our finished card. So fun folds don't have to be hard. We can impress people with some fairly simple fun folds. This is, you know, a little more advanced than some of them. My books do a good job of doing a few easy ones, a few of the more difficult ones, depending on your skill level. So whether you're experienced or a beginner, there's still going to be something in the book that you can do. I want everyone to be successful. Nan says she's always looking for masculine cards. Yep, me too. That's why I loved this designer series paper and thought it was a good one to feature here. Kat's going to give this a try. That seems good. Thank you to those who are liking and sharing. I really appreciate that. Okay, so I don't see any questions. I hope you love it and you come back and see me on Thursday for another simple card making that's going to be, you know, my stamping made simple. I refer to as simple because I don't use any dies. It's more simple folds and punches. So beginner stampers with a limited supply are able to do those projects successfully. And then next Monday, we will have another fun fold card for you using dies. So thank you for everyone being here, and I will see you next Thursday. And in the meantime, go check out that sweet sale. There are some sweet deals to be had. Thanks a lot. Bye.